It was a sunny Saturday afternoon, and I decided to take my daughter Lily to the park. She loved the swings and the sandbox, and I cherished these moments with her. Life had been so busy lately, but I always tried to carve out time for just the two of us. Lily, my little firecracker, was everything to me. Her bright blonde hair and blue eyes were a stark contrast to my dark skin, but that never mattered to us. She was my daughter, adopted when she was just a baby, and our bond was unbreakable. We arrived at the park, and as soon as her tiny feet hit the ground, she sprinted toward the playground. "Push me on the swing, Mama!" she shouted, her laughter already filling the air. I smiled and followed her, ready to enjoy the afternoon. But as I pushed Lily higher on the swing, I noticed a woman nearby watching us intently. Her expression wasn't friendly, it was suspicious. At first, I tried to ignore her. People sometimes stared, probably curious about our family dynamic. I was used to it, even if it stung a little. But this woman, with her neatly styled hair and oversized sunglasses, wasn't just curious. She was scrutinizing me. When Lily asked to play in the sandbox, I helped her take off her shoes and sat on a nearby bench, keeping a close eye on her. That's when the woman approached me. "Excuse me," she said, her tone sharp. "Is that your daughter?" I felt my stomach tighten, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Yes, she is." She raised an eyebrow, glancing between me and Lily. "Are you sure? She doesn't look anything like you." My heart sank, but I kept my voice steady. "She's adopted," I explained. "She's my daughter." The woman didn't seem satisfied. She looked over at Lily, then back at me, her lips pursed. Without another word, she walked away, pulling out her phone. Minutes later, I saw her speaking animatedly into her phone, glancing at me repeatedly. My chest tightened as I realized what was happening. She was calling the police. I wanted to believe I was wrong, that she was just making a personal call, but the way she kept gesturing toward me and Lily told a different story. I walked over to the sandbox, trying to hide my growing anxiety from Lily. "Come on, sweetheart," I said softly, helping her put her shoes back on. "Are we leaving already, Mama?" she asked, her little face scrunching in disappointment. "Not yet, baby," I said, trying to smile. "We're just going to sit over there for a bit." We moved to a quieter spot, but I couldn't relax. My hands trembled as I held Lily close, waiting for what I knew was coming. It didn't take long. Two police officers arrived, their uniforms stark against the bright backdrop of the park. The woman immediately rushed over to them, pointing in my direction. "That's her," she said loudly. "She's with that little girl, and I'm pretty sure she kidnapped her." My heart pounded as the officers approached me. I stood up, holding Lily's hand tightly. She looked up at me, confused but trusting. "Ma'am, can we speak with you?" one of the officers asked. "Of course," I said, my voice shaking. "What's this about?" The officer exchanged a glance with his partner. "We received a call about a potential child abduction." "Abduction?" I repeated, my voice rising in disbelief. "This is my daughter." Lily, sensing my distress, clung to my leg. "Mama, what's happening?" she asked, her small voice trembling. "It's okay, baby," I said, kneeling down to her level. "Everything's going to be okay." I stood back up and reached into my bag, pulling out my wallet. "Here," I said, handing them my ID and a copy of Lily's adoption certificate. "This will prove it. She's my daughter." The officers examined the documents while the woman stood nearby, arms crossed, looking smug. But as they read through the paperwork, their expressions softened. "This all checks out," one of them said, handing the documents back to me. "We're sorry for the misunderstanding, ma'am." The woman's face fell. "But she doesn't look like her. How could she be her mother?" The officer turned to her, his tone firm. "Families come in all shapes and sizes, ma'am. There's no reason to assume anything improper just because they don't look alike." The woman stammered, her confidence crumbling. I I was just trying to help, she muttered, avoiding my gaze. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. Next time, I said, my voice steady but firm. Maybe you should think before you act. You scared my daughter and humiliated me in front of everyone here. She opened her mouth to respond but seemed to think better of it. Without another word, she turned and walked away, her head down. The officers apologized again before leaving, and I crouched down to hug Lily tightly. She wrapped her arms around my neck, her small body trembling. As we sat on the park bench, I held Lily close, feeling her tiny hands wrapped tightly around my arm. Her head rested against my shoulder, her blonde curls tickling my chin. I was trying to calm her, but truthfully, I was trying to calm myself too. My heart was still racing, and the weight of what had just happened lingered in the air. Mama, Lily said softly, breaking the silence. Her voice was hesitant, unsure. Why did that lady think you weren't my mommy? I froze for a moment, my chest tightening. I had been dreading this question. Lily was still so young, her world still so innocent. How could I explain something so complex and hurtful without taking that innocence away from her? I took a deep breath and turned to her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Sometimes, sweetheart, I began gently. People see things they don't understand, and when they don't understand, they make assumptions. Wrong ones. But that doesn't mean what they think is true. Her big blue eyes blinked up at me, searching my face. She thought you weren't my mommy because we don't look the same? I nodded slowly. That's right. Some people think families are supposed to look a certain way, but they're wrong. Families can look however they want to. What matters isn't how we look on the outside. It's how much we love each other. She thought about this for a moment, then wrapped her arms around my neck, squeezing me tightly. I don't care what that lady says. You're my mommy and I love you so much. Tears welled in my eyes as I held her close. And I love you, Lily, more than anything in the whole world. No one can ever change that. Her small voice came out muffled against my shoulder. But it's not fair. Why did she have to be so mean? I sighed, stroking her back. Sometimes people act out of fear or ignorance. They don't understand, and instead of asking questions or being kind, they assume the worst. It's not right, but it happens. The important thing is how we respond. Lily pulled back slightly to look at me, her face serious. How do we respond, Mama? I smiled through my tears. We stay kind no matter what. We show people that love is bigger than hate, and that families like ours are just as beautiful as any other. And if someone doesn't understand that, it's their loss, not ours. She nodded, her expression brightening. Okay, I'll be kind, but I won't let anyone make me feel bad about us. Pride swelled in my chest as I kissed her forehead. That's my girl. As we sat there, the sun beginning to dip lower in the sky, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. What happened today had shaken me, but it also reminded me of the strength in our bond. Lily was right. No one could take away what we had. And as I watched her run back to the playground, her laughter echoing through the park once more, I knew we'd face any challenges ahead together, with love leading the way.